Good morning, everyone. I'm Malu Gonzalez in the system office. I see that we have all of our committee members present. So with that, I'll turn the call over to Chair Tinsley to begin the meeting.
Good morning and welcome to the Telephonic Rules and Regulations Committee meeting for November 8, 2023. I'm Regent Allen Tinsley, chair of this committee. Time is 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Secretary of State as required by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code Chapter 551. Please note that the audio of this meeting is being broadcast live. Before we take roll call, I would like to remind everyone to please mute their phones unless you need to speak. Lou, let's begin the roll call with committee members in any other regions.
Sounds great. And starting with you, Chair Tinsley.
Here.
Regent Faskey.
Here.
And Regent Flores.
Present.
Thank you. Do we have any other regions on the call? Thank you. Moving to our system staff, Chancellor McCall.
Here.
Vice Chancellor Herrera.
Here.
Daniel Harper.
Here.
Carol Fox.
Here.
John Hayek.
Here.
Mike Windmute.
Here.
Sean Cunningham.
Here.
Sandy Poole.
Here.
Piers Mitchell.
Here.
Derek Alexander.
Here.
Do we have any other system staff on the call? Right, moving to our institutions and beginning with Lamar University.
Jaime Taylor, here.
Mark Robinson.
Hector Flores.
Thank you. Sam Houston.
Amanda Withers.
Moving to Saul Ross.
Bernie Campens.
Bonnie Albright.
Thank you. Texas State University.
Caladanfus.
And Eric Algo.
Thank you. LIT.
Sid Valentine and Mary Wickland.
Thank you. Lamar State College Orange.
Tom Johnson.
And Lamar State College Port Arthur.
Betty Renard and Mary Wickland.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? All right, that concludes our roll call. I'll go ahead and turn it to you, Chair Tinsley.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to note that Nellie Herrera briefed me on the agenda items prior to the meeting. At this time, I ask that she present the Rules and Regulations Committee agenda items. Nellie?
Thank you, Chairman Tinsley. And good morning to everybody on the call. Today we have 3 items for consideration. The first is a revision to a rule, and we have 2 new proposed rules. So the first item here, we are recommending revision to an item found at page RR1, or if you're following along in the board book, it's board book page 359. Here we're trying to modify the language in chapter 5, paragraph 4.62. This section of our rule provides the factors that should be considered when decisions are being made about which faculty of different rank to retain or release when a program, course, or department is being downsized or eliminated. Our current rule allows these difficult decisions to be based on a component's diversity program, but the revised language will allow these important decisions to be guided by the component's strategic plan. Now, this is intended to allow a component to consider a broader range of factors when making these difficult decisions. The factors will include the component's goals, the priorities, and the needs of the institution. And Chairman Tinsley, I'm happy to answer any questions about this first rule. Otherwise, I can move on to the next one.
Regents, do you have any questions regarding this item? Kelly, please proceed to the next item.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So the second item is a new rule to Chapter 5, and that's located on page RR3 or in Board Book page 361. The new rule applies to administrators returning to faculty positions. The new rule will cap the salary of a former administrator returning to a faculty role to no more than the salary of the highest paid faculty member in the department. But if the department doesn't have a faculty member with similar academic qualifications as the former administrator, the salary of the former administrator will not be greater than the salary of the highest paid faculty member in the college. The intent here is quite simple. The intent of the new rule is to ensure that the salary of the former administrator is commensurate with the salary of other faculty members of similar qualifications in the department or the college. And Chair Tinsley, I'm happy to take any questions on this item. Otherwise, I will move on to our last item.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this item? Ellie, please proceed.
Yes, sir. So the third and final item, this is a new rule to Chapter 7. This is located at page RR4, Board Book, page 362. Now, this rule comes about because of some recently passed legislation. During the 88th regular session of the Texas legislature, amendments were made to Texas Education Code, Chapter 51. The amendments address the responsibility of governing boards of institutions of higher education regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Now, that phrase, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is also known by the acronym DEI. The amendments to the statute are pretty straightforward, but they do several things. They prohibit institutions of higher education from establishing or maintaining a DEI office or engaging in DEI functions. The statute also defines what a DEI office is. Now, there are exceptions in the rule, there are exceptions in the statute, and those exceptions are duly noted. One of the things also, though, that the statute provides, it does provide and requires institutions of higher education to impose disciplinary action on any individual found to have violated the provisions of this new statute. I would note that this new statute, the amended statute, has a very strong compliance aspect to it. And it is because of this very strong compliance aspect that the Office of General Counsel has drafted a rule, and that the rule essentially mirrors the prohibitions, the requirements, and the exceptions of the amended statute. And Chair Tinsley, I will note that as with all statutory requirements, the new system rule is intended to ensure that our system is fully compliant with the requirements of the new amended statute found in Chapter 51. And Chair Tinsley, I'm happy to answer any specific questions with regard to this last item. Otherwise, that concludes all the items for consideration this morning.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this last item? Thank you, Nellie. Regent Foskey, are there any items you would like to move off the consent agenda for consideration by the full board?
No, sir.
And Regent Flores, are there any items you would like to move off the consent agenda for consideration by the full board?
No, sir. Thank you.
As no one is requesting that we move any item off the consent agenda, Regent Foskey and Regent Flores, I move that we recommend board approval of the proposed changes to the system rules on the consent agenda. Regent Foskey, do you agree?
Yes, sir.
And Regent Flores, do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Regent Foskey and Regent Flores, for your responses. Considering those responses, the proposed changes to the system rules will remain on the consent agenda with the committee's recommendation for approval. As there are no further items to consider, this concludes the business of the Rules and Regulations Committee and concludes today's telephonic meeting. Thanks to everyone for calling and taking part. And for the record, the time is 11:08 a.m.
Thank you.
See y'all all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.